Hi, I'm Sarah. Tonight, want to know what good firewalls can't do? A security expert spills the beans. Plus, dual boot your favorite OSs with a cute little switch. And tree sitter Julia Butterfly Hill teaches Martin a thing or two about Mother Nature. Live from the Tech TV studios in San Francisco, it's a Screensavers! Woo!
Trust me, just put that one through here.
Jeez,
but wait a minute, no, wait a minute, the mouse is...
No.
Wait a minute,
Hi.
put the mouse over here. Wait a minute, this will go...
Screensavers.
What is this?
I'm Patrick Norton. That's your USB-powered mouse pad.
Why do you need USB
He's
for a
Leo
mouse?
Laporte. This is the Screensavers.
Welcome. Okay, we're just doing a little untangling here.
A lot of untangling.
Too many wires. Thanks for joining us. We should have probably done this before the show started, is what our producer is saying right now. We did, but it's taken us all day. Welcome to the show. This is where we give you the coolest stuff, answers to some of tech's toughest questions. And today is Earth Day.
Yay!
So we're going to take a close look at some of the good technologies that can help the environment as part of Tech TV's Help the Planet Week. No, that's my USB mouse pad.
Great, take it home.
No, but it's not the only problem here, is it?
It was the biggest one.
Oh.
Stick around. We got an amazing show lined up.
But let's first take a look at the top technology stories of the day. In this just in, Patrick Norton disconnected Leo Laporte's USB mouse pad on live television. Shocking. Actually, this is a big anniversary.
Yeah.
Today,
serious anniversary.
Today, 10 years ago, 1 decade ago, the beginning of the whole thing. The whole thing started.
Well, the internet as we know
it. The web as we know it. The Mosaic 1.0 shipped on April 23rd, 1993. It was the first graphical browser. Now, many people say, oh, yeah, the web was invented in 1989 by Tim Berners-Lee at CERN in Geneva. But that's true.
True.
But it wasn't the graphical web you and I know. It was a text-based.
No pretty pictures.
Let me show you. This is what the web looked like before.
Brace yourselves.
In fact, this is my first experience of the internet. Let me go to Leoville. Well, I got to get the right keyboard. Let me go to Leoville and show you what it looks like in text. This is how browsing looked in the very earliest days. And actually, it was kind of fun. And you'd move around.
Well, back in the day, this was amazing.
This was incredible. Look, I'm on the... And, you know, I had basically used Gopher.
Right.
Up to this point, which was a menu-based way of navigating the internet.
Right up there with Finger.
And I thought, yeah, Gopher and Finger. I thought that was the state of the art. Then along come these guys from the National Center for Supercomputing Applications at Urbana, Illinois, part of the University of Illinois, and this graphical browser, Mosaic, Mark Andreessen, Eric Bina, they
were supposed to be working on other things.
Were they?
This
was not part
of it. They were supposed to be working on another project completely and got obsessed with doing a graphical browser for the internet.
Well, I mean, this was an amazing revolution because we had never seen graphics on web pages before. And I'll tell you, I remember vividly the first time I used Mosaic in 1993. That wasn't that long ago.
No.
And I was doing a computer radio talk show with John C. Dvorak at the time, and he said, the web, it'll never happen. Forget it. Graphics, who needs them? That's for wimps.
That's indirectly responsible for my job here.
Is it?
So I got my first interview at PC Magazine.
Was Mosaic?
I knew how to program HTML.
Wow.
They were like, you know how to do this? And I'm like, uh-huh.
This is, it's
obscure.
It's a very important anniversary. So happy 10th birthday to Mosaic.
Yeah!
Of course, Mosaic is long gone. I mean, you can still download it. We just downloaded this. This is not 1.0. I think this is a much later version.
And the rumor is that after Mosaic was introduced, traffic on the web almost instantaneously increased, like within a month.
Well,
1,000%.
I hardly use the web the internet except for email, and all of a sudden this makes it so much more useful.
Well, don't forget downloading audio files.
Akabono.stanford.edu was one of the first sites people went to. In fact, let's go there right now, shall we? AKEBONO.stanford. See if it's still up. .edu. Do you know what that was?
I'm going to say it's the origins of Yahoo.
It's Yahoo. That's exactly right. Yeah. It's the first, and it is still the former home of Yahoo, and they still have some stuff here, the history of Yahoo. And there's Akabono.
A lot of sumo wrestlers.
Yeah, Akabono, of course, a famous sumo wrestler. So there's a lot of history there. 1993, 10th anniversary. I just think that's kind of worth mentioning. Now, you did a little research on this Canterwood issue.
Yeah, well, okay, yesterday we talked about chips, both AMD's Opteron, which launched this morning, and Intel's 3 GHz Canterwood processor, launched last week. Well, Canterwood was subsequently delayed due to a mysterious, undefined anomaly. Can you hear someone stepping on a duck in the background? Really
they wouldn't say what was wrong with it.
No,
they just said we're going to ship the chipset, but not the chip.
They're going to like delay, yeah. What's going on with that? Because the chip has the 800 megahertz front side bus, which is provided by the chipset. Let me make something clear. According to Intel, the anomaly, which was only found during stress testing in Intel's labs, they tell me, has been fixed. Now, I had visions of the Pentium Pro problems in my head. I spoke with a contact at Intel yesterday. They assured me the fix was in software. They had some issues with the BIOS and the 875P chipset. Again, only during stress testing in Intel's labs. They claim no one outside of Intel has ever found them. And according to Intel, it's not a hardware problem with the chip or the chipset. The uncorrected fix could cause unnamed, again, issues with data moving over the bus or not getting to its destination when it's trying to move over the bus.
Some sort of data issue, but they weren't specific about exactly
They don't really want to talk about it. They're like, look, it happened in our labs. As far as we know, it's never been seen anywhere outside of our labs.
And they have fixed it.
We've fixed it. We have a BIOS fix for it. I'm just going to say, hey, you know what? If you buy a new system with it or one of the new others.
Based on Canterwood.
Exactly. I'm going to say if you're buying it from any major system vendor, the BIOS upgrade's going to be there. If you buy one at home or through the open market, it wouldn't hurt to double check, make sure the BIOS is upgraded if you buy one.
You were given the choice between an Opteron and a Canterwood. What would you look at?
Well, at the moment, Opterons, I'll tell you what, if you're curious about Opteron, I would go to hardocp.com. Kyle's got a nice article about the introduction of the chip, which took place this morning. He's also got links to AMD's benchmarks, and Asus Hardware did a full review of the Opteron in server applications. I haven't seen any numbers generated yet with a 32-bit operating system, i.e. Windows, XP,
the stuff we run.
Standard Linux, right.
There is a SUSE Linux for Opteron, but that's about it.
The performance, it's not an inexpensive processor. Opteron, AMD's Opteron, is not an inexpensive processor by any stretch of the imagination. It's currently designed more for servers.
It's a high-end.
It's a high-end chip. It's going to be a few weeks before we start to see what it can really do.
Bottom line, good news, we have choices.
Yes.
And until AMD came along, we really didn't have choices. It was Intel or Intel.
There was Cyrex before AMD, but Cyrex, I remember Cyrex was one of the first people to really challenge Intel and really started to get them to force them to drop down their prices.
Yeah, well, and thank goodness. Thank goodness AMD and Cyrex and the others are there.
So shout out for AMD.
Yeah, and a shout out to Kyle Bennett over at HardOCP, who's got all the details at his website, hardocp.com. Real briefly, second time in 3 months, the cybersecurity czar has quit.
Dun, dun, dun.
Their White House cybersecurity advisor was Howard Schmidt, the guy there he is. They hired from Microsoft. He wrote a letter, announced his resignation after only 3 months in office. He noted that most of the responsibilities of his position have been transferred to the Department of Homeland Security. His concern, and I think legitimate, was that the Homeland Security Department doesn't have the chops, the horses, the expertise to do the job. According to the Information Technology Association of America, we need a cybersecurity advisor in the White House. Tom Ridge's Homeland Security Department is not sufficient to protect us against terrorist cyber attack. And I think that's probably legitimate. So something to keep an eye on. I guess there's a little fuss going on in terms of turf, a little turf warfare.
Well,
but it's important that we have good protection.
People who make their living, I mean, the ITAA, this is a group that represents people who make their living off of networks and technology and computers. And they want to make sure, hey, they're getting their slice of the protecting the American infrastructure pie.
Well,
I mean, how do you do your banking?
That's right. Let's protect it. Hey, if you really wanted to take this country to its knees, the best way to attack it is in its electronic infrastructure.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody I said that, but I think it's true.
Take out EverQuest and eBay. What are people going to do all day?
I'd be depressed without EverQuest.
Oh, boy.
Don't forget to register for this week's Screensavers LAN party powered by NVIDIA. We're not doing EverQuest. We've got something Joshua Brentano dug up called Quake 3 Akimbo. He likes it.
Two-fisted Quake Fury.
He likes all the weapons he can get. You get 2 rocket launchers, or, look at that. We got 2 different, the shotgun and that blue
plasma gun.
Amazing. Amazing. You can play it with us Thursday, but you've got to register first. Join our LAN party at thescreensavers.com. We'll have links to the Akimbo download that you'll need to apply. Now, first question of the day is a netcam call. Shall we take it?
I think we should.
You feel
Aaron.
good?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to Curtis Bay.
Thank you very much.
How are things in Curtis Bay today?
Actually, everything's sort of wet and nasty, but we needed it.
Well, that would explain the hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, don't go outside without the hat.
Well, trust me, you wouldn't want to see my hair today, so the hat was important.
It's a bad hair day.
I'm having a Harry Potter hair day.
Oh, my. Ooh. Well, we've had that too, Aaron, so don't feel bad.
Every day of my life.
Every day of our life. So what can we do for you?
So what I want to do is I want to be able to record audio from my radio to my computer hard drive, saving in MP3 format, and I don't want to have to be present. I kind of, in a perfect world, I want a TiVo for my radio in the computer.
I did a whole segment on this, and we have a whole article written by Michael Swain, a good friend of ours who works down at Disney. He's an Imagineer, and it's on the Screensavers website if I could find it. You know, I feel like I'm using Mosaic right now, or maybe Lynx. What the heck? This is the Screensavers website right now. Oh, there it is. Okay. If you go to our website and do a search for recording radio, there are a number of great programs. The one I liked a lot was an open source project from SourceForge called Streamcast Ripper that actually took shoutcast radio broadcasts and divided them up into individual songs and ripped as MP3s on your hard drive so you could actually add to your record collection that way. But there are also a number of VCR-style applications. We've got links to all of that at the Screensavers website. I don't have the page up, but I'll do a search for it and I'll find it for you. All right, Aaron? I mean, like, really a great article. And there are several ways to do that.
It's true. It was a great
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
Thanks
guys.
for the call. Stay dry.
Bye-bye.
Folks, don't go anywhere. Activist Julia Butterfly Hill grills Martin on his sloppy environmental habits. It's about time. That's coming up in a bit. But after the break, got Firewall. We've got some security tips you'll want to learn. And when we caught up with security expert Bill Cheswick yesterday as he was passing through San Francisco, we'll give you that interview in just a minute when the Screensavers continue. Welcome back. Our next guest is the co-author, along with Steve Bellevin and Avi Rubin, of Firewalls and Internet Security, Repelling the Wily Hacker. Today, let's repel the wily hacker with one of my favorite guests, Bill Cheswick. Welcome back, Bill. It's good to have you on.
It's a pleasure to be here.
You added Avi Rubin to the masthead of your new book.
Yeah, we needed, well, someone who could help us get the job done. Steve and I were bogged down on the second edition.
Boy, you get those three people, though. That's there are no more wonderful people in this area.
It was great working with
You really are the guys. What's new? The second edition just came out on Valentine's Day.
It's pretty much a rewrite.
You know, when the first edition came out, firewalls were corporate entities.
And you built them yourself.
Yeah. And now every user out there practically knows about firewalls, and most of them have them.
Yep.
That's a big change.
It is. It is. They're all over the place, and they're all pretty good, too.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. We don't even talk about any particular commercial firewalls, just because
they all do the job.
They all pretty much do the job.
You don't worry about stateless inspection versus, I can't even remember all those.
We describe all that stuff and try to give a broad idea of what they're there for and why you'd want one or the other and what does the best job. But, you know, you can do a pretty good job using almost all of that stuff, anything.
Now, many of our users, because they have firewalls for the first time, are suddenly brought up short saying, my God, there's people attacking me all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
What is that all about?
Well, it's mostly robotic, just programs out there.
Harmless?
Worms. Oh, no. If you're susceptible, it'll get you. There was a paper out last year showing how to write a virus that will try every machine on the internet in about 5 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
It must kind of propagate itself.
You sort of preload it a little bit, but every machine that gets infected, you know, does 10 million others or 10,000. It spreads it out. You can do it in a couple minutes.
Nobody's done that.
Not that I know of, not yet, but soon.
The side effect of that would be the amount of traffic it would generate would bring the internet to its knees. Forget the security issue.
In fact, that's one of the things you notice. The internet gets slow, and it may be because one of these attacks is going on.
Really?
Yeah.
So should everybody be running a firewall?
Well, if you don't know what you're doing, the answer is probably yes. I've been running without a firewall for about 6 years. And
you know, I don't use an antivirus, and I say the same thing. It's because I know what not to do.
Well, that's part of it. It's like skinny dipping. It's
yes.
Well,
continue.
It's sort of this dangerous freedom.
Yes.
But you have to be careful.
You have to watch for the rocks.
That's right.
Yes.
And I've been doing it. It really focuses.
Why?
Because it really focuses you on getting the host to be secure, which is really where you want it to be.
Can Windows ever be secure enough to do that?
Someday.
But not now.
Maybe in our children's day. You know,
great-grandchildren.
Bill Gates came out last year and said, we're going to make this secure.
Right.
And we all sat around saying, yeah, well, oh, you got a big job. We wish you well. We had a meeting back in January, and we heard from some people at Microsoft, and they are really doing the right sorts of things.
Good.
They know it's a long haul, but they're retraining people to think about security. They've been developing tools to do that sort of thing. I wouldn't depend on it for security yet myself, but it looks to me like they're doing the right sort of stuff. A whole bunch of us came away from that meeting really encouraged that maybe something good will come out of this.
So you wouldn't agree with some who say that the fundamental architecture of Windows is flawed and it can't ever be secure?
Yeah, maybe.
It's possible?
It's certainly possible. It's 42 million lines of code,
huge. Something
like that. Marcus Random wrote a 50-line program once and said, this is secure, and gave it to Steve Bellevin. He found a security bug in it.
That's 50 lines, and Marcus knows what he's doing.
And he does. And so how do you manage this? You've got to do layers. Is what you got to do in security. Just if you're protecting atom bombs or Windows or whatever, you need to have lots of different layers so that they have to go through.
And
it's like the old Get Smart, Maxwell Smart, going through all the doors.
Yeah.
You really want lots of different doors and you want to watch what's going on so that people can't sneak through all the doors. And that really gives you high security, even if the individual components are not very secure.
Okay, Mr. Skinny Dipper. So you don't run a firewall. What operating system do you use that you consider securable enough that you don't have to worry about that?
I run FreeBSD, and it's...
Is that the most secure out there?
No, pretty much any of the Unix-like ones can be made quite secure if you remove all the network services. If there are no doors into the house, you can't break in.
But can you not surf the net with it?
I can, and it's dangerous.
Even having port 80 open is enough to be risky?
Oh, sure. Web servers are notoriously bad. I've jailed mine. I've put mine inside a CH-root jail,
right,
so that if someone can break out of there, they still can't get to the rest of the server.
They're running as only a limited user.
And I'd like to see more of that in Windows and other operating systems so that we've got belt and suspenders. You know, we'll make it as secure as we can and then put it in something else.
Are firewalls... What are the limitations of firewalls? Because if even surfing the net is dangerous, you have to punch a hole in the firewall to do that.
Yeah. Yep.
So it sounds like a firewall, in and of itself, is not sufficient.
It isn't. It's sort of a medium-level security, and that's something that's changed in the last 10 years. When we were building these back at around 1989, something like that, we were trying to go for very high security. Now, for example, in corporate intranets, they have some firewalls, and then they have 300,000 hosts inside the firewall. We've circled the wagons around Wyoming.
Right.
And so
there's going to be a hole somewhere in all that.
Yeah, and in fact, that's what the company I helped found does.
Lumeta maps networks.
We map networks and we try to find holes in these walls in large companies.
Because if you have that many servers, that many clients, it's too
big.
Yeah.
What you really need to do is divide it into enclaves. And if you look at what the super secret people do in the government, government runs internet on very highly classified networks.
Yeah, how do they do it?
They divide it into little enclaves that cannot talk to each other. They segment it. Yeah, I think maybe if I had 40 computers, I could run a cell that big and keep it reasonably secure. Not 40,000, 40. Now, other people would argue about the number, but if you do that, and you do it with firewalls, among other things, that can help with the problem.
Everyday home user, most of our viewers, that's what they are. I mean, there are a lot of IT professionals watching, but the everyday home user, is it enough just to run a firewall and antivirus and just cross your fingers?
Keep the virus definition updates up to date, and most people don't do that. And
nobody does.
Back up your data.
That's the best.
I got secure. A tearful woman called me on April 15th. She's a CPA. It was in the morning.
Oh, no.
Her machine was stuck in safe mode, and she was in tears. And, of course, all the extensions had to go out and stuff. And you know the hard drive is going to die. It always will. Someday it's going to die. It's going to get overwritten, the virus, something. Back it up.
It's always great to have you on. I really appreciate your time.
A pleasure.
Bill Cheswick, along with Steve Bellevin, and now Avi Rubin. The author of the wonderful must-buy Firewalls and Internet Security, especially for pros, but even if you're just an everyday person, it's fascinating. What is it again? Detecting the wily...
Repelling the wily hacker.
Yes. Best subtitle ever.
Oh,
Look for the cartoon.
Yeah, that's right.
Good marketing.
The cartoon, yeah.
Look for the cartoon on the front.
New cartoon, too.
Yes, I noticed that.
Yep.
Man, you updated everything.
Pretty much.
Yeah. You can find more, including more information about where to get the book on our website, thescreensavers.com. Stay tuned. More Screensavers coming up right after this. little Tyler there. A little Tyler action. Hi, Tyler. How are you?
With the light.
With the light. The Tech TV, a special Tech TV push light.
Not available at the Tech TV store.
No?
Not available anywhere.
Andrew on the line from Montreal, Canada. Hello, Andrew. How are you, Andrew?
Fine, thanks. Yourself, gentlemen?
I'm very well. What can we do for you?
Okay, I have a question with regards to SpyBot 1.2.
Yeah.
Great product, but the only concern that I have is that I have tried on several attempts to try to uninstall or remove it from my PC.
Yeah.
And for some apparent reason, I'm unable to do that.
Really?
When you go into File, it says uninstall. It'll only show you a partial uninstall.
Oh, you probably had a bad install.
Yeah.
At some point. That can happen sometimes. You know, the way an installer works is it makes a log file, usually .isu file, that actually says what it did. And the installer can read that back and uninstall from that ISU file. But if that gets corrupted or damaged in any way, it's going to fail on the uninstall.
Now, one of the classic ways of getting around this is to reinstall the application completely and then try uninstalling it off of the clean installation.
That's exactly what I did.
Okay.
And it still failed.
It still failed.
What's telling you that? Is the application uninstall itself telling you it didn't work, or are you?
No, it's on the application itself. When you click on File, when you open SpyBot, there's File, and then it says Uninstall. But then it will say just a partial registry uninstall.
Ah. Huh. Well,
I tried contacting them, and to no avail, I was able to get any information.
They're Germans. They don't. What do they know? So, no, it's hard to get a hold of them because it's overseas.
Plus the language difficulty.
language barrier. Gee, I don't. You know, anybody? Kevin, Yoshi, Joshua. There's our brain trust. We've uninstalled it and never had the problem.
Yeah.
They're all going. I don't know.
Reinstall Windows.
They're about as hard to talk to as the Germans, frankly. I don't.
All right.
And they speak English. So I guess you have an unusual problem, Andrew. I mean, if it was able to uninstall its registry entries, frankly, you probably could just trash the folder and you'd be okay.
I'm wondering if there's some reason, did SpyBot, if it modifies your registry as it's removing stuff, if completely uninstalling it would install all of that back into your registry.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe you don't want to uninstall it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. It should be clean.
I even attempted with a software, Clean Sweep software.
Yes.
And it still failed.
What did Clean Sweep say? Now that's interesting to me because Clean Sweep's very good at this stuff. That's the Norton product.
It was unable to uninstall that completely. It's something I don't remember what I wrote down. I wrote it down last week. I tried it and it didn't work.
It sounds to me as if there's one thing it can't uninstall because it's busy or it's been in use still.
I mean, you could start searching manually through the registry. You could start editing the registry manually. On the other hand, other than knowing it's there and that gnawing at your soul at 4 in the morning, is it creating any problems on the system?
No, it's not. It's just that I wanted to have that option because what I also did is ever since Adware came back.
You want to go back to Adware?
No, I'm using both actually.
Oh, I see. Andrew, the one other thing I would say is try restarting in safe mode and try the uninstall in safe mode.
That's a good idea.
That way you'll at least turn off anything that might be running. If you can't uninstall it, I mean, this is, let's put it this way, it's unusual. We've all, or many of us at least, have uninstalled SpyBot. There's nothing particularly unusual about SpyBot. So it's something weird going on with your system. I'd try doing it in safe mode, and if you can't, then just put up with it.
Or reinstall Windows XP from scratch.
Yes, that's the other choice, Andrew. Format the drive. You don't mind doing that.
That I'm trying to stay away from.
Hey, Andrew, we haven't been much help, but if anybody has some suggestions, email me, leo@techtv.com. Maybe before the end of the show. We've got another half hour to go. We'll be able to find something for you. Okay, Andrew?
All right. Thank you very much,
thank you very much.
Show. Thank you.
That's great. Well, we love Montreal. I can't wait. That's where my people are from.
Really?
Yes. Don't go.
Don't go anywhere. You'll miss strong words from activist Julia Butterfly Hill on the technologies that are hurting our planet. And after the break, grab $2. We're going to show you how to dual boot your favorite operating system.
Look at that.
With a $2 Switch. Plus, before that, a Mac tip right now from Sarah.
We've shown a program called Backlight that makes your desktop a screen effect, a moving desktop, if you will. But you can also do it manually in your terminal. So type in this command and press enter. It's really long and convoluted, but it's in our show notes. Then it will give you a number. To that, you say kill that number. In this case, it's 548. Enter. And your desktop is normal again. It doesn't move. That's it. Bye. See you in a few.
Leo. He's like a big, giant, whatever those things we used to dissect.
Cupid doll?
That's close enough. Whoop, screensavers, welcome. I'm Patrick Norton.
What big, giant thing did you used to dissect?
No, the little things. The little...
Frogs?
No, the animated things. The robotic things. That's the one.
Yes, Roger
you looked like a Furby when you were...
Coming up in this half hour,
activist Julia Butterfly Hill is more than a match for Martin's wit, we're told. Find out what technology she thinks is good for the environment.
And Kevin has a cheap and easy answer to the dual boot, a little switch. A little switchy poo. But first,
it's time to check in
with the good folks over at Tech Live to see what's coming up tonight. Hey, this is exciting.
We got a new news anchor.
Is this the first time anybody's going to see him on TV? Don't show him yet. There's a new anchor on Tech Live, a guy named Chris Leary. No one's ever seen him before. No one's at this for the first time.
Well, at least on Tech TV.
Well, yeah, I'm sure somebody's seen. My mother's seen him. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Leary. Yeah. Oh,
is that applause I hear?
Oh,
that's applause.
That's good. Yeah, we have a live studio audience.
I don't have the Leo Furby look. I mean, that would get the chicks, but I'll do the best I can.
That's probably a bonus for you, Chris. Well, welcome to Tech TV.
It's great to be here. I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. You got a great show, and it's good to be a part of the Tech TV family.
That's good. He's done the requisite kiss up to Pat and Leo,
exactly.
So I think we'll allow you to continue on now with to promote your show.
This is great. Actually, I'd love to do that because coming up on the show, assault with a deadly cell phone.
Ow.
Check this out. A guy in the stands at a Major League Baseball game actually beamed Texas Ranger outfielder Carl Everett in the head with his cell phone. Now, we're going to show you how security used a precision surveillance system to track down the thrower and/or bonehead in this case. And we'll also tell you what else they used that system for. All right, Patrick, Leo, back to you.
It's just an excuse to show people
the fight.
What happened? Did I miss something?
No, that was fun.
It was just we were watching the baseball fight on the. We get excited when we see a baseball melee. That's what's coming up.
See that? Guys love baseball and assault. Two things just go good together.
Contemporary ball. Thank you, Chris. It's what's coming up tonight on Tech Live right after this show. Leo and Kevin, however, are geeking out in the lab right now.
Hey, how are you? If you have a... No!
Step out of your butt!
I just was going to sucker punch me. If you have a couple of different operating systems, no, I just thought it was funny. He just came right over there and punched the guy for no apparent reason. If you got a couple of different operating systems you're trying to load in your PC, you got Windows, you got Linux, you got BOS, whatever it is, it can be a real pain to get your system set up.
Definitely.
Yeah, you got to partition it, you got to put a boot manager and everything. Kevin, when he was, what, 16?
Yeah, about that. It's about 16.
Thought up, 2 years ago, thought up a clever thing all by himself. And it's just a $2 part, and it doesn't have boot managers or anything.
Nope. No partitioning, no boot managers.
So you've resurrected this hack. You forgot that you did it?
I did, and then I wanted to put Linux and Windows on the same machine, and I was going to do 2 drives, and I thought I might as well just go down to Radio Shack, spend $2 and do it this way.
When you were a kid, what was it you were booting between?
Like Windows 3.1 and 95 or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right. So the idea is now, if you were going to only do it on one drive, you would need a partition manager and a boot manager.
Right.
But if you have a drive for each operating system, you don't need that.
Exactly. Exactly. Let me show you what we got going on here.
Okay.
This is an example of the inside of your computer. We have the cable going to the ID controller, and then we have 2 drives coming out here.
Right.
Now, if you remove all the jumpers from both of these drives...
No, let's just explain. Normally, you would have some jumpers that are set on the back here that say this is the boot drive, and this is the master, and this is the slave. But if you don't have any jumpers?
If we remove all the jumpers, on modern hard drives, they're going to go to what's called the cable select mode.
I've seen that, but I don't know what that is.
Well, the cable select mode is what it does is that the last drive on the chain, see how the chain ends right here?
Right.
This is going to be designated the master, and this will be the slave.
So the motherboard's here,
right?
And then this is the slave, and then the last drive on the chain is the master.
With all the jumpers pulled off of both drives.
If there are no jumpers. Otherwise, it goes by what the jumpers say.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and do it that way, pull off all the jumpers, and we're going to install Windows on this drive.
Okay.
So Windows is taken care of, done deal, that drive's taken care of.
And if we don't, and you put Linux on this one.
And Linux on this one.
And if you don't jumper it at all, Windows will boot.
Windows will always boot from this drive, but you can't get to Linux.
Right.
Linux is installed on here, but there's no way to get to it.
How do we do that?
What we're going to do is we're going to put a switch on the front of the computer.
Yeah.
And what the switch is going to do, think of the switch as like a pair of hands. It basically puts the jumpers on the drives when it's switched up, and then when you switch it down, it takes the jumpers off, so it goes back to this configuration here.
Goes back to cable select.
Exactly.
So this is actually, why don't we show, first let's boot up.
Let's boot up.
Because you've got it now, this is the switch, and by the way, thanks to Yoshi with his laser burner.
He did a great job with
creating
the laser
a little
on the front
bezel.
there. And so right now it's switched to Windows. It goes either way. Then we're going to switch it to Windows.
Okay,
and we're going to turn on the machine.
So this is basically saying the machine cable select is in operation.
Exactly.
Right,
it's like when you switch it that way, it's pulling the jumpers off and saying go to cable select mode.
Right.
Which in this case, it'll boot from the Windows drive.
Okay, so it's booting up. Let's see what it's going to boot to in just a second. We will see IDE drives. It saw both drives, which is good.
Detected both drives, and then now it goes right into Windows XP.
So that's what's booting, is Windows XP right now. Show us the diagram here so we can understand a little bit better what you did. Now these are everyday parts you could buy at the Radio Shack? Or
definitely. Okay. The cables here that go to the jumpers, you're going to want to pull off an old machine. You can go to like a...
what kind of cables are you using?
Here. It's basically, you know all those little wires that are inside your machine, like that go to the turbo button or the power button?
Right.
You find an old machine like a 286 and you just cut those off and then use those. It goes from a jumper and then has the 2 wires coming out of the jumper.
I got it.
So it's not actually a jumper. It's not connecting the 2 wires. It's just bringing the 2 wires off the back.
And that's what you need. This is actually a 4-wire solution.
Exactly, 4-wire solution.
You need 2 of those.
2 of those, and then what you do is
this is what kind of SPDT?
A single pole double throw switch that you pick up at Radio Shack for $3. I have a link to it in the article.
SPDT.
And what it does is basically when the switch is flipped up, it's connecting these 2 together. So as you see, there's nothing connected to this one here, and there is to this one here. So it's basically like pulling the jumpers off the drive.
Right.
And now when the switch is flipped down, it's connecting these 2 here. Now these wires go to each of the jumpers. One goes to the master on the Linux drive, and then one goes to the slave on the Windows drive. So it's basically connecting those jumpers together. That makes the Linux drive the master and the Windows drive the slave.
Okay, got it. Let me turn off this computer because I want to boot from Linux in a second. We're going to see if this works.
All right.
Now, did you have to do a little trial and error? I mean...
Well, you have to make sure that you're not putting your voltage and your ground together. Basically, the easiest way to explain this, I have all the instructions in the article, but if you have a problem, just flip one of the jumpers and it'll work just fine.
You would be sending voltage to the wrong pin there, but that's not going to fry the drive.
No, it's just 5 volts. It's not going to really do anything to the drive.
Cool. Well, that's fairly simple. A little soldering, a couple of wires here, a $2 part, and you're set. All right, let's try it. We flip the switch over. I just shut down the machine.
All right, we'll flip it over to Linux
just to prove that there's nobody swapping the hard drives here. It's like a David Copperfield illusion. All right, now we're going to see if Linux will boot up from this machine. And all the instructions are on the web. What I think is cool is that you figured this out when you were 16. I think that's kind of cute that you.
Oh, it was fun. It was just a little project of mine.
Linux
there
it is. Up. Look at that. And actually, this is nice because you got the Linux boot manager, so you would give yourself a last chance to reboot to. It could still boot to Windows.
Right. Well, think of it this way: if there's 2 boot managers, you can do 4 OSs, 6 OSs, however many OSs that you want to do.
You could really switch it around.
Yeah.
Very cool. Details on the website at techtv.com if you've been dying to dual boot your PC. I've seen people swap drives in and out.
Well, it's cool because no partitioning, no partition magic. You don't have to spend the money.
Well, it's always cleaner to have an operating system have its own drive.
Definitely.
Much simpler. That's where people get in most trouble with Linux. In fact, we got some Linux users out here who are going to do that right now, aren't you? You're writing this down? Look, he's got his Linux pocket protector. You know he's part of the Linux brigade. Look at that. Stay where you are, folks. We're here to help. What cards are better for video, AGP or PCI? The answer may surprise you. But up next, Julia Butterfly Hill teaches Martin some important lessons about saving the environment. I guess he didn't smoke during that interview.
I guess not.
Stay right here.
You dropped this.
God, that was really stupid.
This woman's so impressive. She lived in a redwood tree for 2 years without ever touching the ground, without ever washing her feet. No, I'm not kidding, because she said the sap made it easier for her not to,
fall out.
Fall out, yeah. Julia Butterfly Hill. She's known worldwide for her campaign to save the old-growth redwood trees in California, and now her causes have expanded to encompass many other environmental issues at stake and to encourage others to speak up and act on causes they believe in. I can't think of anybody better to have on. During Earth Day, Martin Sargent caught up with Julia Butterfly Hill in Sausalito, California, to find out how she thinks technology is helping and hurting the planet. Yeah. Watch this.
Julia Butterfly Hill, let's chat.
Okay.
So you're well known for your stay up in a redwood tree that you named Luna. Can you tell us a little bit about your protest, why you did it, and what your experiences were up in that tree?
Well, I climbed into an over 1,000-year-old redwood tree and ended up living there for the next 2 years because it and many other ancient trees just like it are marked to be destroyed. So I decided I had to try and do something to stop it.
So when you're up in Luna, how did you keep in contact with friends and family?
Well, I had this amazing system set up where I had solar panels in the top of the tree that actually powered a solar phone that I was able to actually not only stay in touch with friends and family.
If you could do it all over again and the technology were available, would you have the internet up there?
Well, I had a wonderful staff on the ground that kept in communication with the world through the internet. I understand and recognize that it's a powerful tool. It's just one that I don't choose to use in my toolbox personally.
One thing that you did have up there was a radio that you could crank and power by yourself. Do you have that with you?
I have that with me. I just happened to bring it. And people might laugh at this, you know, because it's like, look at it. It doesn't look very cool. It looks kind of clunky. But you wind it for 30 seconds, like that, and then it plays for 30 minutes. Although I don't have it glued onto a station here. But
Julia Butterfly Hale kicking the rap station.
So that's the way it works. And the reason why these kind of things are important is that right now we're really drawing upon the Earth's resources for things like technology and for energy in a way that is literally destroying us. And so we have to find these solution technologies that allow us to have some of what we want without draining the Earth's resources. Solar power, wind power, we have enough sun and wind in California that we don't even need to be attached to a grid that keeps us to coal, oil, and nuclear.
What's keeping us from using these much better solutions for powering ourselves, such as the sun? What's holding us back?
Well, basically one word, subsidies. And that subsidies is the connection between corporations and governments that happen in our country, where the elected officials have very close tie-ins with really bad technologies and really bad energy, and there's subsidies going to that instead of directing those subsidies towards solutions that are great for the rest of us.
You're involved in something called the Planet Tour. Why don't you tell me about that?
It's actually called We the Planet, and it's a wonderful tour. It's really exciting. Basically, our motto is to make consciousness cool, because right now everything that is considered cool for us are things like SUVs that are destroying our air, destroying our global climate, destroying our lives, indigenous communities, etc. The tour will be powered by solution fuel, biodiesel, vegetable oil.
How does that work? I mean, is it a good ride? Is this something that everyone should be partaking in? Is it a possibility for the entire country, the entire world, to drive cars that are powered by vegetable oil?
It's absolutely possible for people to be driving cars powered by vegetable oil. You can mix it up in your home. It's alcohol and vegetable oil, and the only byproduct is glycerin, which you can make into soap. And what's really interesting is that you can even go to like restaurants who have to pay to have their grease hauled off, and they will give it to you for free. And then you filter it, turn it into the oil, and you've literally just made your own fuel for free.
It sounds kind of messy, though. I'm not sure I want to be doing that, mixing this stuff up in my kitchen. Grease from a McDonald's or something like that.
Well, I mean, that's up to you to choose, but what's really messy is if you go and see where oil is being extracted. I was in Ecuador witnessing the children who have sores covering their body from the mess that the oil's making there. That's really messy. Causing global warming, that's really messy. So at what point is mixing your own brew in the garage cool, and also getting off that umbilical cord of addiction to oil?
What can I do on a day-to-day basis to make the world better?
Well, I think staying in touch with the real information, like for those people who do use internet, going outside of the typical sources for news information and finding out the truth about what's going on in the world. Get on your bike instead of getting in your car. You know, take public transportation. There's a lot of things we all can do.
So you're a big fan of tech TV?
I would have to watch TV to know if I was a big fan of tech TV.
You don't watch TV?
No.
You're cutting my throat here, Julia. See, people like you, if everyone follows your direction, I'm going to be out of a job.
But, you know, then
and I'm going to have to go sit up on top of a big TV antenna to protest it.
That would be painful.
Well, Julia Butterfly Hale, email me, all right?
Somebody will.
Not me. The first time anybody's ever been honest with Martin about that. You want to learn some easy ways you can help heal the environment? Check out an excerpt from Julia's new book, One Makes the Difference. You'll find it on our website at thescreensavers.com. Still to come, we hit the phones again. Matt wants to know which video card to buy. We'll help him choose when the Screensavers continue. Stay here. Matt joins us on the phone from Davison, Michigan. Our next caller on the Screensavers. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. What's your Green Bay Packers fan?
Yeah, big one.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I don't know if you can see my room, but it's all over as Green Bay Packers.
Is it? Show us. Give us a little tour of the room with the net cam. Just move it slowly.
A little faster.
Matt, I got a question.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to ask a huge Green Bay fan the question. Cheesehead. Insult, compliment?
No, they're proud of it.
I'm not asking you, Leo. I'm asking Matt.
It's a little bit of both. Because if you're, it's like if you're a fellow Green Bay Packer fan, and you call them a cheesehead, then it's like, hey, what's up? But if you're like a Minnesota fan or a Chicago fan, you call them a cheesehead, then it's an insult.
Okay. Okay, one more question, Matt. You don't have a big rubber cheese head in your closet.
Yeah, I do. Do you want me to go get it?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Forget the card question.
We should ask
So
him the
he wants to know about AGP versus PCI video cards. Which is the better one, AGP or PCI?
In theory, PCI should be. In some ways, like everybody's like, AGP's got this huge path to the card. There's some advantage. There are some advantages. It takes traffic off. Wow! I think we need a round of applause for the cheesehead hat. Okay, Matt, crunch time. We got like a 1-minute drill. What do you want to know about AGP versus PCI? Just performance?
Are there any advantages to either one of them?
AGP is almost always going to have the latest and the fastest chipsets. They're more available. A lot of the PCI cards, like you can find PCI cards, but they're usually like, oh, this one where it's a 4. That's not even a PCI card.
It's an ISA card.
Yeah.
Basically,
I'm running a GeForce 2 PCI, so I'm looking for a better one.
If you have an AGP slot, use it.
Right.
Okay.
But if you don't, it's okay not to. If you can find a PCI card.
If you don't, you're either going to use PCI or you're going to buy a new motherboard.
Right.
The thing is, it's for the newer chipsets, the faster chipsets, it's getting harder and harder and harder to find PCI versions of it. Okay. So
stay with AGP. You got it. Use it.
Okay, Matt?
Just like the cheese head. Hey, thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
You look so cool.
Stay where you are. We'll see what's on your mind as we check in our inbox. Coming up next.
Cheese hat.
He does. Can we get a cheese hat for Mr. LaFleur? Cheese hat for Mr. LaFleur. Be right back.
Be sure to catch tomorrow's episode. We're going to show you how to generate your own electricity using solar power. And we'll build a massive 0.5 terabyte home server. It's 500 gigabytes of power. Discover why Adam Sandler's dog is the star of his website, too. That's all on tomorrow's program. Hey, let's get our download of the day in quickly, because Sarah's been working on this, and I don't want to miss this. People use this to spy on you, don't they?
Yes.
Yes. What is it?
It's called the Webcam Watcher. And you know, if you don't want to miss anything around the world, then it's really the thing for you. It's from Bosoft Software. And I'm using version 3.0. It's in beta. It's free. And basically, real quick, what you can do is just set up a bunch of webcams that are interesting to you and have them all in one place. You know, for example, I like the Nook Cam, where the hotties are, where the foo hangs. My own cam to see who's, there when I'm gone.
Now, where do these captions come from? Do you add those?
Yeah, well, they're just, they're just being saved to the program files. Basically, every single capture gets saved, unless you say something like, only save it if it has motion in it or something like that. So, you can kind of save yourself some trouble.
We have a lot of cams going on.
We have a lot of cams. For example, I just find out, what was going on with the jib cam before the show.
Wow.
Kevin was playing around with this little thing. I've got this all. So now I realize how they do it with us.
Yes.
They're saving them.
Next time Kevin plays with his little thing, you'll be able to catch it live on the set.
And that's all I got. More at thescreensavers.com. Email me if you like, and that's about it.
What is your email address, my dear?
Sarah@techtv.com.
Okay.
Please email me.
Kevin's little thing. So let's,
What?
Nothing. Let's...
Shame.
You're bailing yourself out of this one, Laporte.
Works for me.
That's it for this edition of the Screensavers. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm in deep, deep trouble. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to our guests, too, Bill Cheswick and Julia Butterfly Hill. Thanks to you for joining us. 3 cheers for Earth Day. We'll see you next time on the Screensavers. Bye-bye.